My child, my beloved, come closer to these words, not physically, but inwardly, because what you are hearing now is not casual language and not imagination. It is a summons. There is a reason your attention paused here instead of drifting away. There is a reason your chest feels slightly tight, or calm, or alert without knowing why. This is not coincidence. This is alignment. Listen carefully, not with your ears, but with the part of you that has been waiting for confirmation. A decision has already been made concerning you, not on earth first, but above it. And once a thing is decided in the higher realm, the lower world must eventually follow. Your name has been spoken where outcomes are determined. Your name has been written where delays are reversed. Your name has been moved from the column of waiting to the column of release. This is why you are here. Something that was held back has begun moving toward you again. Something that stalled, paused, slipped away at the last moment, or never quite arrived, has reached its appointed time. Not because you chased it harder, but because the season shifted. What was blocked has loosened. What was delayed has lost authority. What was redirected is circling back. And yes, this concerns provision. This concerns resources. This concerns the material support required for the life you are meant to live. Stay with me. Do not scroll. Do not let your mind rush ahead. Moments like this are quiet, and that is why so many miss them. You have been patient longer than most. You have carried pressure without applause. You have shown restraint when frustration would have been justified. And heaven does not overlook endurance. Every unseen night counted. Every silent decision mattered. Every time you chose not to harden, your heart was recorded. You were not forgotten. You were being timed. There is a difference. Right now, systems you cannot see are adjusting. Arrangements are shifting. Paths are being cleared that once resisted your effort. You may not see evidence yet, and that is intentional. Spiritual movement always precedes physical proof. If proof came first, faith would not be required. And faith is the currency that unlocks permanence. Breathe slowly now. Let your shoulders drop. Let your jaw unclench. Notice how your body responds when truth approaches. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not disqualified. You arrived at the exact moment your identity could sustain what is coming. That is why this message feels urgent without being loud. That is why it feels personal without knowing your name aloud. A gate has opened. Not forever. Not indefinitely. Windows of release are precise. This is why your attention matters. This is why staying present matters. You do not need to fight. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to convince anyone. Receiving requires a different posture than striving. Heaven is not asking you to chase. Heaven is asking you to remain. If your spirit is still here, that is already a response. Quietly, without force, acknowledge your presence. Even a thought is enough. Even a breath. Alignment begins with awareness. And something else is happening now. Resistance notices when momentum shifts. That heaviness you felt recently. That sudden tiredness. That emotional fog that seemed to come out of nowhere. It was not weakness. It was pressure breaking. When something long delayed finally releases, opposing forces stir briefly, then dissolve. Do not misinterpret this moment. Do not pull back. Just as gravity changes, what is moving toward you must be met consciously before it can be held physically. Stay. You are not being tested for worth. You are being confirmed for readiness. And listen carefully here, because this matters. Nothing that arrives in your life from this point forward will look exactly like your past expectations. Blessings mature while we wait. They arrive wiser than when we first imagined them. What is returning to you is refined, protected, timed. This is why the instruction is not urgency, but presence. If you feel calm reading this, let it deepen. If you feel curiosity, allow it. If you feel emotion rising, do not suppress it. Your spirit recognizes what your mind is still catching up to. And yes, if at any moment you feel moved to affirm this space, by staying, by listening fully, by even supporting messages that sharpen your awareness, that choice anchors you further. Attention is agreement. Now, stay close, because what comes next explains why this release waited for you to become who you are now, and what this season will require of you once the evidence appears. Do not move. My child, my beloved, remain here, because what unfolds now explains why this release waited for you, and why it could only arrive at this exact version of you, not earlier, not later. There was a time when what you desired would have overwhelmed you, not because you were unworthy, but because you were still surrounded by hands that would have drained you, smiles that concealed envy, voices that sounded supportive but carried silent resentment, connections that felt familiar but were misaligned. Heaven does not deliver abundance into unsafe containers. So it waited, not to punish you, to protect you. Every delay was a shield. Every closed door was preservation disguised as rejection. You were being separated from what could not come with you. This is why certain relationships dissolved without clear explanation. Why plans collapsed at the last minute. Why opportunities almost worked, then vanished. You thought something was wrong, but something was being corrected. You were learning discernment. You were learning boundaries. You were learning how to stand alone without shrinking. That is maturity. And maturity is the signal heaven responds to. Now listen carefully. What is being released to you now is not only material, it is positional. It comes with influence, with choice, with reach, and that level of provision requires a stable identity. You cannot carry abundance while still seeing yourself through the lens of lack. You cannot steward expansion while internally bracing for collapse. So your inner world had to grow before your outer world could follow. That growth happened quietly. No applause. No witnesses. Just you choosing not to quit when quitting would have been understandable. This is why you feel different now. Less disparity. More observant. Less reactive. More grounded. You are not who you were when you first asked. You are who you needed to become. Right now, your name is active in realms you cannot access with logic. Records are being updated. Permissions are being granted. Routes are being recalculated. This is why the last few days or hours may have felt strange. Moments of restlessness. Sudden emotional waves. Sleep that came and went. A quiet sense that something was approaching. Your soul knew before your mind did. Now understand this clearly. When heaven releases something of magnitude, the spiritual confirmation always arrives first. The physical evidence follows. So, If part of you still says, I don't see it yet, that does not disqualify you. It confirms the order. Do not let the absence of proof talk you out of alignment. Alignment precedes arrival. Right now, there is a narrow window, not of effort, but of agreement. You do not need to do anything dramatic. You do not need to convince yourself aggressively. Simply allow your inner posture to shift. Quietly, within, acknowledge this truth. I am aligned with what has been released. Let the words sink without repetition. Let your body relax around them. This is not affirmation. It is recognition. And something else must be said. From this moment forward, your relationship with provision changes. You are stepping out of survival thinking, out of stretching scraps, out of bracing for disappointment. A new season does not announce itself loudly. It becomes noticeable through ease. Opportunities begin opening without force. Resistance softens. Your name carries less friction. But hear this carefully. Not everyone will celebrate your shift. Some will grow quiet. Some will reappear with familiarity. Some will question your changes. Do not explain yourself. Elevation does not require justification. What is aligning with you now is not compatible with old compromises. You are not becoming cold. You are becoming clear. Separation is not loss. It is accuracy. And accuracy attracts the right partnerships, the right timing, the right rooms. This is why you were prepared inwardly first. So when evidence appears, and it will, you do not panic. You do not sabotage. You do not shrink. You recognize. You receive. You move forward steadily. If at any moment you feel resonance here, if something in you feels steadier, more awake, stay with it. Presence deepens alignment. And yes, supporting what sharpens your awareness by staying, by listening fully, by choosing messages that strengthen rather than distract, anchors this state. Now remain. Because the next truth determines how quickly this release becomes visible and what identity you must fully step into so it cannot be reversed. Stay exactly where you are. My child, my beloved, stay with these words. Because what unfolds now is not encouragement. It is instruction. There is a final internal shift that determines whether a blessing remains spiritual or becomes tangible. Many reach alignment. Few complete embodiment. You are being asked to cross that line now. Listen carefully. You cannot receive what you secretly believe is unsafe. You cannot hold what you still associate with fear. And you cannot sustain abundance while identifying with the version of yourself that learned to survive by expecting less. This is the threshold you are standing at. The delay was never about timing alone. It was about identity. You were being expanded from the inside out. The world taught you to stay small, to be cautious with desire, to apologize for wanting more, to confuse humility with limitation. Heaven does not reward shrinking. Heaven entrusts those who can carry weight without collapsing. You were never being denied. You were being trained. This is why frustration followed you even when things were fine. Why comfort never fully satisfied you. Why a quiet restlessness lived beneath your routines. Your spirit knew there was more. And more requires readiness. Now hear this clearly. What is being released is not for indulgence. It is for responsibility. Provision follows purpose. Your life carries assignments larger than what you have been given so far. Your reach is meant to extend beyond your immediate needs. Your influence is meant to outlive you. That is why resources are aligning. You are not receiving because you asked for relief. You are receiving because your path requires capacity. This is also why you are stepping into a version of yourself your past cannot follow. You cannot go back to the one who settled. You cannot return to the one who waited for permission. You cannot keep the identity that minimized itself to keep others comfortable. That version of you completed its role. Honor it, but release it. From this point forward, shrinking would be disobedience to your own becoming. And listen, this matters. When your reality begins to change, not everyone will understand. Some will question. Some will feel exposed. Some will attempt to reattach themselves once they sense momentum. You are not required to carry anyone who refused to walk with you when the road was narrow. Clarity will protect you. Silence will protect you. Discernment will protect you. You are not meant to announce your shift. Your life will reveal it. Your presence will feel different. Your decisions will land with weight. Your boundaries will no longer need explanation. This is authority forming, not dominance, but stability. Now breathe. Feel how calm replaces urgency when truth settles. And understand this. What is aligning now cannot be undone by doubt from others, only by doubt within. So your final task is internal, not external. You must stop rehearsing old stories. No more one day. No more if it works out. No more I hope. Hope served you when you were waiting. Identity serves you now. From this moment, your inner language must reflect arrival, not pursuit. Quietly, without force, shift the way you speak to yourself. Not aloud, within. I do not chase. I attract. What is mine moves toward me naturally. Let that settle. Again, slowly. Because when identity shifts, reality reorganizes around it. You may feel a stillness, a warmth, a pressure in your chest or hands. Do not analyze it. Recognition does not need explanation. Now listen closely. There will be a sign, not symbolic, not vague, something practical, a message, a name, an opening, a change in tone, a door that previously resisted. When it appears, do not dismiss it. Do not say, "This is too good to be true." Do not retreat into old caution. Say only, "This is the beginning," because it will be, and there is something else you must prepare for. Your elevation will be visible, not to embarrass anyone, not to prove anything, but because your life will become evidence. You will not need to argue your worth. You will not need to explain your growth. Your results will speak. This is how restoration works. Those who underestimated you will notice. Those who overlooked you will remember. Those who doubted quietly will observe. And you will not respond. You will remain steady. Now stay present, because the next truth reveals why you were chosen specifically to carry this level of provision, and how this blessing extends beyond you into legacy. Do not move. My child, my beloved, remain steady, because what is revealed now explains the weight of what you are receiving, and why it could never be given casually. This blessing is not arriving because you were lucky. It is not arriving because circumstances improved. It is not arriving because someone decided to be generous. It is arriving because you endured without becoming bitter. That is rare. Many survive hardship. Few survive it without allowing it to poison their spirit. You did. You felt disappointment without hardening. You experienced delay without abandoning faith. You were overlooked without becoming cruel. That inner restraint shaped you more than success ever could. Heaven does not entrust influence to those who would misuse it when wounded. It entrusts it to those who learned restraint in silence. This is why your patience mattered. This is why your pain was not wasted. Character is the soil where abundance takes root. Without it, wealth corrodes. With it, wealth multiplies. You are not being prepared to receive money. You are being prepared to carry power without losing yourself. That is the difference. Now understand something essential. What is coming to you does not stop with you. You are not the end point. You are the turning point. In your lineage, patterns are breaking. Cycles of lack, dependence, compromise, and limitation are ending through you. You are the one who changes the story. This is why your life always felt heavier than it looked. Why responsibility found you early. Why you felt pressure others did not. You were carrying future weight before resources arrived. Now resources are catching up. And because this blessing is generational, it requires separation, not isolation. Precision. Certain energies cannot travel with you into this next chapter. People who drain your clarity. People who resent your growth. People who only feel comfortable when you are smaller. They will naturally fall away or reveal themselves. Do not resist this. Space is being cleared for alignment. The absence of misaligned connections makes room for those who recognize your value immediately, without explanation. Loyalty will feel effortless. Partnerships will feel balanced. Support will feel clean. This is not loss. It is correction. And now hear this. You are also receiving authority. The authority to choose, to decide, to say yes without fear, to say no without guilt. You are stepping into a life where options expand instead of collapse. But authority must be integrated before it is exercised. This is why this message arrives before visible change. Your spirit must lead your circumstances, not chase them. So breathe again. Slow, grounded, present. You are not rushing into anything. You are arriving. And now we approach the ceiling. This is the moment where alignment becomes irreversible. But before that happens, one truth must be accepted fully. Your life is changing because you became capable of holding what others would have dropped. Not because you were perfect, because you were faithful to growth. You stayed open. You stayed aware. You stayed willing to evolve. That willingness is what heaven responds to. Now, within yourself, not aloud, acknowledge this shift. I release the identity of lack. I step into the identity of abundance. Do not repeat it compulsively. Say it once with clarity. Identity responds to recognition, not pressure. You may feel emotion rise. You may feel stillness deepen. You may feel nothing at all. None of that determines effectiveness. The shift happens beneath sensation. Now listen carefully. Soon, very soon, you will encounter confirmation. Not a dramatic announcement, a practical indication. When it arrives, do not analyze it to death. Do not delay response. Alignment requires movement when the signal appears. And one more thing. If at any point you feel the urge to disengage, to distract yourself, to scroll away, to postpone attention, recognize it. Resistance often disguises itself as boredom, but you stayed. And staying is agreement. Agreement accelerates manifestation. This is why presence matters more than belief. Now remain. Because the final truth completes the cycle. It reveals the deeper purpose of this blessing and the responsibility that secures it permanently. Stay exactly where you are. My child, my beloved, we arrive now at the completion. Not an ending, but a sealing. Everything that has been spoken until this moment was preparation for what you are about to understand. Because a blessing this large is not sustained by excitement. It is sustained by clarity. This is the truth that anchors everything. The purpose of what is coming to you is not comfort alone. Comfort is a side effect. Stability is a benefit. Freedom is a tool. But the true purpose is expression. You were created to build something that did not exist before you, not only in the visible world, but in the unseen lives your choices will affect. Your influence was always meant to extend beyond survival. This is why your heart never fully settled for enough. This is why ease alone never satisfied you. This is why you sensed responsibility even before resources appeared. You were designed for stewardship. Stewardship does not mean burden. It means alignment between capacity and calling. Now that alignment is complete, and hear this clearly, because this will protect you. You are not required to save everyone. You are not required to carry guilt for those who refuse to rise. You are not required to explain your growth to those who prefer familiarity over truth. Your task is not rescue. Your task is embodiment. When you live fully aligned, you give others permission to believe again. That is how legacy works. Quietly, naturally, without force. Now understand this final principle. What you hold internally determines what stays externally. So from this moment forward, guard your inner language. No more speaking as if things are fragile. No more narrating your life from fear. No more preparing for loss before it happens. Expectation shapes experience. From now on, you speak to yourself as someone who is established, not hoping to be. This does not mean arrogance. It means accuracy. I am supported. I am provided for. I am positioned. These are not affirmations. They are acknowledgments. And now, this is important. When the first visible sign appears, do not rush to announce it. Do not seek validation. Let it settle. Momentum grows best in privacy. The world will notice soon enough. Your calm will confuse some. Your steadiness will unsettle others. That is not your responsibility. You are not here to manage reactions. You are here to move forward cleanly. Now breathe one last time, slow and deep. Feel how different this breath feels from the one you took at the beginning. That difference is evidence. And there is one final alignment, gratitude. Not for what might come, but for what is already secured. Gratitude signals completion. Quietly, within, acknowledge this. It is done, not dramatically, not emotionally, simply settled. And now listen carefully. As you continue forward, choosing messages, voices, spaces that sharpen rather than drain, your alignment strengthens. What you return to, you reinforce. Choose wisely. If these words anchored you, if they steadied something inside you, if they clarified what you already sensed, remain connected to what reinforces that clarity. Attention is not passive. It is direction. And now, the ceiling. What has been released cannot be reversed. What has been aligned cannot be scattered. What has been prepared cannot be denied. Your season has shifted. Not loudly, not chaotically, but permanently. Walk forward without rushing. Receive without guilt. Build without apology. You are ready. And you are not alone. Stay grounded. Stay aware. Stay aligned. This path opens as you walk it.